Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on something that looks like pure chaos to most people. Trading a huge news release. We're going to break down a professional trader's actual journal, step by step, to see exactly how they turn what seems like a gamble into a really solid, high-probability opportunity. It's the million-dollar question, right? When that non-farm payroll report drops, the charts just explode. It's wild. But here's the thing. While most people see a coin flip, a pro sees a process. So, how on earth do they do it?
Okay, so let's get right into it. What we have here is a real trade journal, a real play-by-play on gold during that crazy NFP release. We're going to translate all these complex notes and charts into a super clear case study. This isn't just theory, This is a real playbook in action.
First things first. Before a pro even thinks about clicking a button, they zoom way out. It's all about setting the stage and getting a feel for the bigger picture. You have to know which way the current is flowing before you jump in the river.
So, according to the journal, this analysis started way before the event, maybe even days before. Looking at the daily and 4-hour charts for gold, you could see a really strong underlying bullish trend. The market was already pointing up long before all that news-driven chaos kicked in.
So, take a look at this. This chart shows us exactly what the trader was looking at. See that big shaded area? That's a key demand zone, basically a spot on the chart where buyers have shown up in a big way before. With the price just hanging out above it, the signal was pretty clear. The buyers are in charge here. The main takeaway? Whatever trade you take during the NFP chaos, it has to agree with this bullish bias. You got to swim with the current, not against it.
All right, so our big picture bias is bullish. Check. Now, we zoom in a bit. The next step is to look for clues in what's been happening more recently to see what the market might be setting up for.
Now, before we check out the next chart, we've got to talk about a really key concept, the liquidity sweep. The best way to think about it is like the market is shaking a tree to see what falls out. It pushes the price just far enough to trip all the stop-loss orders from the weaker hands before it makes its real move.
And boom! This chart shows that idea perfectly. The journal points out that right before the NFP release, the market didn't just sweep the high or the low of the London session, it swept both. Now, why would it do that? Well, to clear out all the nervous buyers and sellers, creating what the trader called a liquidity vacuum. The board was basically wiped clean, setting the stage for a really powerful, decisive move.
Okay, let's add the next layer to our analysis. So we've got the big picture context, and we have the immediate setup. Now the trader starts looking for a very specific, high-precision pattern to really nail down the exact entry zone.
Now, to the untrained eye, this just looks like a bunch of random squiggles, right? Just price going up and down. There's no obvious story here. But a pro isn't looking at all that noise. They're searching for the hidden geometry within it.
And there it is. The trader spotted a very specific pattern called a bullish anti-butterfly. Now look, you don't need to be a harmonics wizard to get the point here. What's so important is that this geometric shape finished exactly at that London low that just got swept. This was a powerful, mathematical sign that a reversal was probably about to happen.
So here's where it all comes together. This is absolutely crucial. It is never about just one signal. It's about confluence, stacking up a bunch of different, independent reasons that are all pointing in the same direction. So what did we have? We had the completed harmonic pattern, another simpler pattern also pointing up, a key moving average holding the price up like a floor, and of course, that big overarching bullish trend. The case for a long trade was getting pretty overwhelming.
All right, all those hours of analysis, the checklists, spotting the patterns, it all comes down to this one single moment. The time for thinking is over, now it's time to act.
This slide just lays out the trader's mental process perfectly. It's a simple, repeatable checklist that turns the utter chaos of a news event into a structured, logical opportunity. You confirm the big trend, you watch the market shake everybody out, you identify your specific pattern, and then, and only then, do you pull the trigger. And here is the result of all that planning. As the NFP numbers hit, the volatility spiked like crazy. Price dipped right into that pre-planned entry zone, and the trade was on. And from there, it just did exactly what the analysis predicted it would, shooting straight up towards the profit targets. Just a perfect execution of a really well thought out plan.
Now for what might be the most important part of this whole thing. The trade is over. The profit is booked. But for a professional, the work is not done. The post-mortem review, that's where the real learning and growth actually happens.
This is just a fascinating and really honest note from the journal.
Even though the analysis was perfect, the trader admits they got out of the trade too early because of psychological pressure. It's just a powerful reminder that even on your winning trades, you're always battling against your own internal biases.
But here's the key. Despite that little psychological hiccup, the trade still delivered a roughly 1-to-4 risk-to-reward ratio. That means for every single dollar risked, 4 were made. This just shows you the incredible power of having a strong analytical edge. It can still be massively profitable even when your execution isn't 100% perfect.
So let's just boil this whole playbook down. What are the core lessons here? 1, always start with the big picture. 2, watch for those liquidity sweeps. They tell you when the market's ready to make a real move. 3, advanced patterns can give you almost surgical precision. And 4, the final boss is always your own psychology, and you can only beat it with a solid, predefined plan.
And that leaves us with a final thought to chew on. As we've seen today, this wasn't about using a crystal ball. It was about stacking probabilities, following a checklist, and executing a system time and time again. It really makes you wonder, maybe the real secret to navigating chaos isn't about prediction at all, but just pure, unflinching discipline.